Hello everyone, welcome back to some more Let's Play Grim Dawn with me, your host Tim. I get out there and kill a bunch of animals, and then a bunch of goblins, because we're going to do all the side quests that are waiting for us out here, somewhere. Where were we? Tyrant's Hold? Yeah, Tyrant's Hold. So I want to get the Tyrant's Hold area completed, because I don't think I've done that area. But we've got some quests to pick up first, before we do so, and a quest to turn in to get us an extra sack. So let's go ahead and talk to Kasparov and see what he wants us.
There you are. Come. We have an errand you must perform immediately.
Oh, I like this guy's voice. Excuse me?
Yes, at once. Do not tarry. There are experiments to be run, and Darlet and I require explosive materials immediately. No time for questions. These magical artifacts aren't going to break themselves down, now are they? Are you still here? Head to the mines around the Arkovian foothills, and hold Arkovia immediately.
Will this dynamite suffice?
Oh, good. Let us start the experiment immediately. Darlet, prep the blast furnace.
Is this safe?
Of course. I am fully confident that it will function as intended. Well, there may be a slight chance that we will tear apart reality when the artifact is consumed by the conflagration. But chances of that are very low. So low, 1 in a billion. You're safe, really.
This can't end well.
Aha! I was correct. Just look at these wonderful components. We can finally begin studying artifacts properly. If only the Erelon Museum Society could see me now. They would be absolutely furious. Oh, and if you wish, you can have Darlet break down any items you find. Just bring her more explosives.
Thanks. Cool. I actually had just done that, so it wasn't tied to the quest, or maybe I...
Broken down?
Oh, no, I did not. I salvaged something. I didn't dismantle something. Okay, gotcha. Wow, I'm down to 1 stick of dynamite.
Something interesting.
Alright, let's go back now to Homestead and turn in the quest to Douglas. And then we're going to kill a bunch of beasts. And the next episode, we'll go back out to the Homestead fields, and we'll destroy the amalgamation out there, whatever it is, that one awesome looking demon. Have you dealt with the Derp Queen? Yeah, the Derp cycle is disrupted. That is the best news I've heard for weeks. I'll have to speak to Captain Summer about getting a proper kitchen set up. Your continued support is ensuring that Homestead will produce enough food for all. We get a rucksack or inventory bag, 100 rep, and 2,000 iron. What about Devil's Crossing? You have done much to help us get our fields back in order, but I can't spare anything until my people have had more time to grow a fresh crop. If you continue to help us out, then I will free up the hands I need to tend to the harvest. Clearing out the beasts roaming the land will also assure that we can work in peace. Alright, cool. And more importantly to me, we now have our 3rd sack for stuff. And this now means that I feel a little more secure in doing the Steps of Torment, since I won't have to throw out as much stuff. Okay, so let's go out there and we'll slay old Bloodbriar and Morgara, the Manticore, out here. That's right, Pine Barrens. I live in the Pine Barrens. It's a nice place. Alright, give me a few seconds here. Let's activate my passives. Oh, and no one told me the shoulders I were using were from level 15. So I sold them and got some new shoulders, but then the new shoulders I bought couldn't be equipped on my character because I just immediately replaced the old shoulders. You know how the game suddenly makes it so that you can't equip things in the game? So I have to wait 1 level so I can put a point into physique. This way I can go ahead and use those new shoulders I purchased. Created. I also have some new boots that we're using. Slightly more electrical damage, but our movement speed is now a little less as well. We also picked up Cold Flash, which will hopefully keep me alive when things crit me. Alright, let's go out there and start killing all the things. Alright, and let's think. What's been going on recently? So, Templar Battle Force is now being played, and I have people who are interested in watching it. Thank you, guys. And partaking in it, and holy crap, that was awesome. Those lightning bolts. That's right, I got distracted. It's going really well. I really like the game. It's fun to play it again. There's been quite a few patches since I last played it, but it feels fantastic. And that's pretty much all I got for that one. It's a great game. We really like it. I'm glad to have the excuse that I can finally beat another game that I own. As I mentioned before, I struggle to think of what games to play that I don't want to record. Because if I really like the game, I want to record it. This way, other people can watch me really enjoy the game. Or end it because I really want to make sure I finish the game that I'm playing. Stagger, venom, cold, frostbite. No, just junk. I know that if I don't record the game, even if I really like it, I'll probably not get to the end of the game. I'll just stop playing and then start playing something else. One of the other hundreds of games I possess that I haven't even played yet. and that game will only get played for a tiny bit, whatever it is, before I get distracted by something else. So this YouTube channel has been so helpful to direct my focus and also keep me on track when it comes to playing a game that takes a long time to see the end. I'm still chewing through Planescape Torment. Like, I haven't played the game since the last time I talked about it. That would be what? I think almost 2 weeks now again. Oh my goodness, Tim. I have no reason not to play that game either. It's really fantastic, and I'd like to finish it before Tides of Numeria come out, because I would like to play that game and record that one. Although, maybe I actually won't record that one. We'll see. I find that playing, especially long, well, no, I don't know. Long RPGs can be fun, even if you play them blind. Actually, I should almost definitely record it, because otherwise I'll get lost as to what I was supposed to be doing and not make any progress for some time. That really stinks. You know, when you put the game down for a few weeks and then you forget what exactly you were doing in the game, that can be really frustrating. At the very least, if I record it and I don't even upload anything, I still have it on my computer, and I can begin watching what I did, so I have a good memory of where things, like where I stored things or stashed certain items and so on. Oop, hello. Of course, thank you for the claw. Right. So, what else have I been doing? Well, the other game I'm playing a lot of, I want to wait to talk about. So let's, you know what, I guess, yeah, sure, we'll talk about all sorts of, bunch of different stuff right now. So I've decided that I'm going to talk about things that a podcast talks about. There's a podcast called the Co-optional Podcast, and occasionally, I don't remember who's on it. I don't, not subscribe to any of their channels, but I think someone, Total Biscuit is on that channel. And someone named Jesse, and there's a girl whose channel I think is Press Heart to Continue. I'm so bad with names, but I like listening to them while I work. I download the podcast from the SoundCloud, and on very rare occasions, I actually will watch them on screen, though I haven't actually watched a full episode of it yet. In any case, they talk about, well, they try to talk about video games, and they usually are not very good at it. In so much that they get distracted by all sorts of other stuff. It's like 90% other things, 10% video games. But it's pretty awesome. I really like listening to them. They play off each other really well. And more important to us is that it actually gives me something that I can take notes on and then talk about as well. So I think that I will do this from now on, in that since I do listen to the podcast maybe 2 times a month, like I catch 2 episodes. I think that generally they try to put out one episode a week. So it gives me something to focus on here. Otherwise, there's a lot of me just saying, I don't know what to talk about, and I'm feeling really bad that this is supposed to be the talking Let's Play, and I'm not doing any talking. One second, we have a Herald of Pandemonium here, who now just died. Thank you, Wind Devil, for your assistance. One second, let's see what we got here. Oh, that vanished too quickly, but it's probably junk. Oh, we have some Storm Shroud Ointment. That's a lot of that. Junk. Yeah, just junk. Yeah, right, so what I decided to do is that I will take some notes, which I've done already, and then I will talk about some of the things that I thought, some of the interesting things some of the things that I thought were interesting that they talked about. There we go. It's very important that I properly indicate what's going on here. Right, so I'll also put a link to their podcast in my description of the video, just so that if you want to hear them talk about these things, you'll have some idea of what they were talking about as well. And I forget the actual date for this one. I think it was their most recent one. Their most recent one, I think it was April 12th. And the people on this podcast was Total Biscuit, someone named, I think his name was Bear Taffy, a gentleman named Northern Lion, and Matthias Games was the fourth person on it. And I got the impression that 4 people is somewhat of a rare thing on their podcast. I'm not sure why. Maybe it's I've listened to podcasts where there's like up to 10 people in them. But I guess if you're trying to make it entertaining and have a bunch of everyone's faces up there, I guess having less people would be better for you. In any case, I just mentioned it just so that we have some idea of which one of them I'm talking about here. 1 second. We have lions with poison tails everywhere here. Wow, and I don't have an energy problem on my character whatsoever. Oh, my wisp! My wisp is back at town. Alright, we'll get the wisp when I go back to town, when I level or sell some stuff. Well, that was awesome. They stunned me at the same time I dropped a comment on their heads. Right! Okay, so... Oh, and I won't talk about everything they talked about, since well... not everything interests me. Like, sometimes they make good points or I talk about games, and I'm like, yeah, that's pretty cool. I have nothing to add. I don't think anyone will find anything I'm going to add to this remotely interesting. So, there's that as well. Alright, so, they were talking at some point about games that have an end to them versus games that repeat. And so, I'm guessing what they're talking about is a game like Pac-Man, right? Or Donkey Kong. Like, they're obviously talking about more modern games. The only frame of reference I have would be a game like that. There aren't too many games that I've played where they just cycle upon your victory. So as I'm saying this, there's probably all sorts of games I've played that are on my channel, probably all of them, that actually simply continue on forever and ever. But what I believe they meant, or what they're talking about, was how certain games, when you get to the end, quote, quote, the game will just recycle at the beginning again, and you get to do everything again. So, the only games I have for reference of this would be the old games from way back in the 80s, like Space Invaders, or Pac-Man, or Tron. Oh, hold on, we have a thing here. What is this? Lightning damage, ether damage. Spirit, energy, ether resistance. Oh, it's a circlet. The ether resistance could be nice. It would give me a tiny bit of ether resistance. I don't need the regen. I would lose what tiny bit of pierce resistance I have. I would do more lightning but less cold. But that armor could be useful. I will hold on to this at the moment. I'll decide if I want to equip it on her later. Right, so... what were they talking about? I think they were talking about how they preferred games that actually had an actual end, so that you felt like you had a... Oh, holy crap, a Manicore's eye! So I keep getting distracted by all the things that keep dropping. And this is just all junk. Wow, this is really hard to get, and it's used in some of the crafting recipes for the relics that I'll want to make later on. Right, so... I believe... by the way, this is all going from memory. So, I took notes while it was happening, but I'll have to watch it again. Hopefully I don't say anything which is incorrect about their statements. I don't think I am, though. So, right. So, I don't care if games have an endless mode or not endless mode. Let's say that I was playing a game which just you got to do it over and over and over again. So in StarCraft 2, the arcade game you play, Lost Viking, that's in that game, I think that you have a victory screen, and then it tells you, hey, you can keep playing, and we'll just do it again with everything a little harder. Or in certain other games that you just get to do it again, but the enemies have more life and something like that. I don't think they're talking about New Game Plus, though. I believe it's more akin to just not ever stopping. You don't know you've won, other than the game might mention it, or you recognize the level that you're in now is the same thing that you had done earlier. Alright, I've spent way too much time explaining something that you all understand now. Or that didn't need to be explained, but I've done a few seconds. Right. So, it doesn't bother me, but now that I think about it, I can't think of too many games that I've played again that actually had an endless mode, or that didn't have some sort of, you've won, a type of screen to it. Yeah, I can't think of too many of them.
That skill's not ready.
One second. Sorry, manticores. And then we have bars. All right, all cleared out. So it would strike me that in the past, I mean, I played, Nintendo games from a long time ago, or old arcade games on the Atari, like River Raid, where it just, it did recycle, or Pitfall, which might as well have been the same thing, because I have no idea if that game even had an ending. But or Gauntlet. Right? No, did Gauntlet end? The original Gauntlets? They certainly didn't. I don't think they did. Maybe they did. I know. I was just never. Maybe it just wasn't. Maybe I just suck. I was never good enough to get to the ending of that game. Holy crap! Have they made new Gauntlets? I should take a look at that. Gauntlet was one of my favorite games from ages ago. One of the first 4-player games. I was Miss Walker. Right. Oh, I'm just so distracted. But for those games I did play, when I reached a certain point in the game, I would just have considered myself to have beaten it. I'm like, okay, I've seen everything this game has to offer. It was fun, and the end. And I do feel a sense of accomplishment. Oh, sure, for getting that far. I guess what it is that perhaps your sense of accomplishment is better if you get an official, you have defeated this game, beaten the challenges, solved the puzzles, beaten all the problems, etc., that this game has laid out in front of you. But I guess I don't need something like that to understand when I've seen everything a game has to offer. Take this game, for example. You pretty much see what it has early on. I mean, a few creatures are new. Are they even that new? I guess there's the bosses for this game. But, I mean, I like the combat. It's pretty simple. But yet, I feel like because how everything levels, it gets stronger, that you need to have a good build, and you're rewarded for your build because you keep efficiently and effectively slaughtering everything. So it pays off. It pays off. And I'm going on more tangents again. Second, let's kill everything, get the essence. Right, so I've always viewed it that a person can always just say to themselves, when I get this far, I have successfully beaten the game. And these days, with achievements, you also can have that feeling. Hold on, that's a decent ring. Not that good. We'll just vendor it. Like, you can get an achievement, which is like, seen everything or what have you from certain games. I would imagine that, like, Space Invaders or what have you would have it. It's like, after you beat X number of levels, you get the achievement, which is basically you've beaten the game at that point. Back then, as well, I think some of the games, they could be beaten in, like, maybe a few minutes. Well, a few minutes is maybe not doing it justice. But there wasn't... Well, games from a long time ago, there wasn't that much room on the disc. We didn't live in a gigabyte world back then. So there were constraints as to what exactly you could do. And I guess maybe people felt that a quarter was too much money to spend on a game that you'd play for maybe 10 minutes. Is that correct? An hour of gameplay would be 50 cents? 2 hours would be $1? I don't know. That seems pretty fair to me, but I grew up ages ago. And nowadays, people complain that the game doesn't have it. People complain about paying like $50 unless the game has a few hundred hours of gameplay. Oh god, that's Briar. That's Mr. Briar. Wow, he's doing a ton of damage. Let's keep hitting him. Wow, that was actually pretty damn easy. What did we get? This is all just junk. And this is a vitality damage book. I've got like 5 times over in different characters, so I'm just going to vendor that as well. Alright, let's clear out the rest of his shrine here. Destroy this stuff. Right, so I can understand why they did it way back when. If they do it these days, I guess the sense of accomplishment to me is what I want it to be. Like, okay. I don't know. Oh. So, if a game doesn't have a actual ending to it, if it does cycle, to me, I'm able just to tell myself, when I reach this point, I will have considered myself to have beaten this game, and then that is good enough. And I've done that for, well, actually I can't think of any games, because nothing recent does that, as far as I can tell. I think this was in relation to... Oh, this was in relation to Enter... Was it Enter the Gungeon? Or was it this other twin-stick shooter they have been talking about? Well, one of them has this type of mode. I don't own either of those games, so it doesn't really affect me too much. The closest game to like that I had was Ziggurat. But that game had an ending. You would get to the final boss and beat him, and then congratulations, you would unlock harder modes, which you could do it again, but the dungeon would be a little tougher that time around. And one second, everyone. I have to apparently think while I do the unimportant things here. Well, actually, this is important for the game. It's not important to record it, but as usual, I'm a bad person, and I'm recording this. Go there.
It's safe with me. Promise.
Alright, let's go turn this quest in really quick, and then we will keep talking about stuff. Pine Barrens! And we'll turn this... Oh, hello. I killed 2 things? Oh, I did. That's right. I killed a manticore, too. You returned, with a few new bruises, I might add. Old Bloodbriar is no more. Well done! The death of that horrid beast will go a long way towards restoring order to this region. My superiors will be pleased to hear of this. You can be sure of it. Glad I could help. And we get iron and red. How goes the hunt? Morgara lies dead. Impressive. That beast put one of my men out of commission for a week. Your iron as promised. Now, if you're willing, I've got more work for capable hunters such as yourself. What do you need done? You have proven yourself against Morgara, I'll give you that, but there are far greater threats still out there. A great spider the farmers called Ungliax, the Gloom Reaver, has her lair in a cavern somewhere within the shaded basin to the south. Her spawn crawl out of the darkest places of the world in order to terrorize the locals and gather food for the ravenous queen. This must end. Destroy the Spider Queen, and I will see that you are rewarded with iron bits. I will find this Gloom Reaver. First, we leveled up. That means I'm going back to town again. Devil's Crossing this time, because I left the shoulders in here that I want to equip. And we'll put 1 point into physique to make sure I can equip them. What are we doing? Shaman. Raging Tempest. Frozen Core this time. That's right, I want to get the cooldown down on Nullification. 1 more point nullification should be fine at level 7. Was that 18%? 26%. I like that.
I'll keep your stash.
Okay, these were the Spalders. Nothing super special, but I still wanted these ones. They were much better than my level 15 gear. So now we have some more pierce resistance and cold resistance. I can put something in them, so we should do that. What can I put in them? Everything down that row. What do we got? Armor. I'm almost out of anti-venom, so I don't really want to put any of that. Let's just take mutated scales. We could use the life.
It's safe with me. Promise.
Also, I have a green offhand, which I'm going to be using instead of this. So here was a Storm Scion, which adds lightning damage, energy regen, and +2 to Maelstrom. And it occurs to me that I'm not using any of those things. Lightning damage might help my Sky Shard, but it won't help my elementals. They don't do lightning damage, they do electrocute damage. So I'm probably better off just sticking this back in here again, or probably just, you know what, we're just going to vendor it. I have another copy of that sitting somewhere. But this one, holy crap. Arcanist's Chip Yeti Horn of the Oracle. 50% to all damage. That will also be my electrocute. Then it adds 31% more cold, which means that this is 81% cold damage. That's almost equal to Banshee's Misery, with additional 50% damage to everything else. It adds Spirit, probably just about as much Spirit as I'm getting 5% of. Health, actually it adds 3% Spirit, gives me energy regen. I don't actually get 3.5 energy regen, but I think that will be okay. We also gain skill down reduction, just like the Banshee's Misery, but it also has +1 to Wind Devil, which will be useful for this build of mine. I already put a Death Chill Bolts in it so I can have a greater Ice Spike, so I'll be using that another 2 levels from now. Oh, and we level. Wait, I did all my leveling. Okay. Let's
Come see what's left of my wares.
sell you and get back out there, continue our adventure. Right. So the next thing that they had talked about that I thought was interesting was a game called Hyperlight Drifter. So I didn't kickstart this game. It was a Kickstarter, but I had my eye on it for a while. In fact, I didn't even follow any news on it. I didn't pay attention to it, just like I do for any Kickstarters. I tend to view Kickstarters or most early access games these days, well, ones that I backed, are basically a nice Christmas present. I forget that they exist, and then when I actually get them, I'm really happy to have them. Oh God. So many spiders. It definitely feels like something in here is spawning them and just throwing an endless army of them at me. So, it sounded like they all had some reservations about this game. Mr. Biscuit had quite a few of them, I think. He couldn't play the game. So he couldn't play it because he didn't like the frame rate of the game. And this seems fair, if a little odd to me. So I had my eye on the game, and I decided that I was going to purchase it. So I bought it on GOG, and at the time when I started taking the notes on this, it was been slightly over a week ago, I had maybe 1 hour into the game. Now I have about 10 hours into the game, and I'm recording it. So this game will be going up to my channel eventually. And holy crap, what an incredible game it is. I really, really like it. So well, not all of them complained about it. In fact, some of them didn't have any trouble with what I'm about to say. Mr. Biscuit didn't like it because of the frame rate. The frame rate in the game is locked to 30 FPS. He prefers games that have 60 frames per second. Now, when it comes to twin-stick shooters, or games like that, so, okay, what is Hyperlight Drifter? Hyperlight Drifter is a Zelda-like game. Similar to, I would say, Link to the Past. Top-down view of your hero, the Drifter. I actually don't know what his name is. As he ventures in this post-apocalyptic other planet, is the best way I can describe it. It's pretty awesome. It has a lot of theme. I like the music. And the difficulty, oh my god, it is just smack perfect. It really rewards you for understanding the mechanics of the game and then utilizing all the upgrades or what have you can get. I'm getting ahead of myself. We will talk more on that later. A second. If we have a Green Reaver. Holy crap, wow! That was incredible. She normally gives me endless amounts of trouble, but I just downed her in a few seconds. Just jump today from her. Alright, we will clear out this cave, and then we'll go back to the gentleman by the portal, so I can get another quest from him to kill the leader of the goblins out here. Actually, we're gonna... I guess we'll go do this right now. What did I need here again? I need a serrated spike. Yeah, so he couldn't...
Come see what's left.
He couldn't deal with the frame rate, Mr. Total Biscuit. And it occurs to me that I have no problem with the game whatsoever. It feels fluid, it feels awesome. Sometimes the controls might be a little bit laggy, but when they are, I recognize that it's because of my timing of the buttons and or some slight amounts of delay that are in the game just because it's the game. So, similar to Odin Sphere, for example, the third strike of your sword delays your ability to do anything else for maybe 1 second. And if you mistime your dash in the game, you will be punished because you have a 1 second just about delay before you can actually use it again. Do I not have this? Wow, do I have any hollow ground over here? I do. That's a pretty nice little thing right here. Elemental resistance, health regen, defensive ability.
I'll keep an eye out.
Oh, I came back here for a serrated spike.
I'll keep an eye out.
And does this guy, do you make anything that requires a serrated spike? That's plus bleeding damage. I want something that blocks bleeding damage. No.
Bring me back any blueprints you find.
Right.
I'll
So,
give you a good price, and
oh, and the game is also pixel art. So if that helps explain the game whatsoever, I'll be uploading it soonish. So soonish being sometime before the end of next month, I think. Once Dead Space 2 gets finished uploading, I think that'll be my next one. All right, 1 second. Let's turn this in. Any progress with the Spider Queen? The Gloomweaver is no more. You're efficient. I like it. You would do well in the death marks. I've got your iron bits right here. And one last mission, if you're up for it. What do you need? Regain rep and a little bit of iron. Blood Feast the Ruthless is a vicious Drangul that has driven the local Grobbles into a frenzy. With the Drangul rallying them under a single banner, the Grobbles are becoming a serious threat to the region that cannot be ignored. If you slay Blood Feast, then the Grobbles should scatter and return to their tribal groups. Blood Feast makes his home in a nearby ruined fort known as Tyrant's Hold to the east. Slay him, and I will provide you with some of the rare materials we have gathered on our hunts. Alright, we'll go kill him. But first, we're going to go back to that. We're going to clear out the cave. And also... Oh, activate the shrine. Is the shrine on my map? It is. Okay, cool. So that means even the... I think it is. Is this it? Let's find out. It is. Perfect. Although all this does is mark the shrines, so I would still have to find them. Poison damage. Holy crap. Poison damage and Dreg's Evil Eye? I might be able to use that on other characters. Okay. Right. So, yeah, so I have no problems with the game. I thought the game was simply wonderful. It seems, again, very fluid to me. Although I haven't played any games which seem to require 60 frames per second. Now, I can understand if slower is worse, and that's a perfectly legal, valid criticism, I would imagine. So, there was a game that I played called Odin Sphere, and on the PlayStation 2, some of the battles against Odette, the Queen of the Underworld, she would spawn endless amounts of these little ghosts on you, and the frame rate would drop from what was normally about 30 FPS down to 5. It looked terrible, and the game would slow down to a crawl as well. Oh, it was very, very bad. Wow, that was a perfect time for my lightning bolts to suddenly spring out. Oh, speaking of lightning bolts springing out, devotion point. We will finally finish our Tempest. That gives us a 30% chance of extra lightning damage and 3% movement speed. We've now unlocked Messenger of War. I think this guy's is about movement. What's he got? Carry on your message to the conquest, rebuking any foe daring to try to stop you. Movement, slow resistance, retaliation. You know what? This actually would work for her. I could use... The retaliation damage wouldn't be the big thing. It's the speed, since my character basically just runs around trying to avoid things. Yeah, I think we'll take Messenger of War with her next. This also means I won't be taking any of the big constellations, probably, with her. But, I'm fine with that. This will also give me 3 more blue. Is that Arcane? 3 more Primordial points. Alright, let's get out of here. Yeah, so obviously the faster the frame rate, the better. But I was able to play the game without any trouble. And I thought the game was fantastic. In fact, this game sparked a whole nother conversation on their podcast about game difficulty. So, what was it? Some game reviewer stated that because the game was difficult, it was exclusionary, and that it obviously didn't want him to play it. Now, this is a bit tricky to cover, mostly in part because I feel the statement's kind of, just as Mr. Biscuit said, I feel that's a useless statement. That doesn't mean anything. All games are like that. If you find a game to be too difficult, you're not going to play it, or you might keep playing it if you view the challenge to be worth it. But that's going to be on a per-person basis. Exclusionary, as Northern Lion said, has quite a bit of connotation to it by using that term. It's not exclusionary, it's tough. It's going to require you to put some amount of work in it if you want to beat the game. You can't just have games, well, you can have every game just be a walk forward and you win the game. And not there's anything necessarily wrong with games that do that, but if every game was like that, there wouldn't be too much challenge to the games, now would there? And I like games that have a little bit of challenge. I like games that have no challenge. I like games which have too much challenge. Oh, hello, what is this? Lightning damage, elemental damage. Wow. Wow. Wasting doesn't seem like something I would care about, but the rest of that is really nice. Actually, no, we just invented this. There's no type of character class that can call down lightning bolts. That would only be good for Pentley's Replicating Missile, and I have a different character who has a better main hand weapon. So we don't need that. Right, so let me think here. Yeah, so that statement seems, I don't know, it seems like a useless statement. There will be games which will be too difficult for anyone. Not everyone is good at every game that they play, and not every person likes every game that they're going to come across either. So let's think here. So a tough game that I had beaten a long time ago was Ogre Battle. Not Ogre Battle, Battletoads. Battletoads 64. I never actually beat Ogre Battle, but I like that one too. So Battletoads 64, I could beat that game with 1 life. In fact, it was weird because I had to beat it with 1 life or I wouldn't beat the game. Certain segments of the game, in my case, all of them, it became a matter of being in the groove, is the only way I can describe it, in the zone, where everything just came naturally to me. Because the game's really about memorization, memorizing when to be in a certain spot, where certain enemies spawn, how to quickly get through certain parts, and the speeder bike section, when to know which areas you want to drop to be in, which jumps you need to take, where if you need to be left, you need to go left or right as well in those sections. Fantastic game. Many people view that game as one of the toughest games that they've ever played. I thought the game was just perfectly balanced really well. And again, I could beat the game from start to finish in 1 life, and I did a multitude of times. It was fantastic. But then there were other games which I found too difficult is going to be the wrong thing to describe it. I really liked the game, and I got a lot better in the game, but I recognized that it was going to take me quite a bit of effort to get better at certain parts of it. So, the game I'm talking about is Dark Souls. Dark Souls is an awesome, awesome game, and I really like the theme, I really like the combat, I liked the items, I think it was the items that drop, I like how you're generally rewarded for exploring in that game by finding little rings or what have you for it. It was just great, overall great. It was also too tough for me. But I didn't get very far before I realized that, you know, this is going to take me quite a bit of effort if I want to beat this part. I got as far as the gargoyle fight with the 2 gargoyles, and I got them so close to killing them off, but then I would always die. Now, to be fair, I only did the fight, I think, 6 times. With me, if I die repeatedly over and over again to a single area of the game, I generally will stop, analyze what's happening, and then either make a few more attempts, or I won't make a few more attempts, and in either case, a few more attempts or not, I will decide that I need to start over, or I give up. This is just something with me. It has nothing to do with the game itself, beyond the fact that I'm dying over and over again. What happens to me is that if I die over and over and over, the game begins to lose its sense of immersion is not quite right. So take this game. If our character here died about, oh, I don't know, 10 times on the way to each portal, I would begin to think that I'm doing something horribly wrong. Now, to be fair, in Dark Souls, you are doing something horribly wrong. If you die over and over and over again. In fact, you need to figure out what the heck you're doing wrong and address that problem if you want to make any progress. That is great. It's something I miss that most games do these days. But because I'm dying over and over and over again, what ends up happening is it becomes, at certain points, I'm like, I'm just in this game to beat this part of the game,
See you around.
and it loses the feeling that I'm this hero adventuring in this world trying to do the story thing. Okay, yeah, so it does lose its immersion to me. How about that? So, yeah, so what will happen is that I will lose interest in playing the game, not necessarily because it's too hard, but because the story becomes a little ruined for me in this case. Oh, hello, there's another shrine? Wow, alright, well, we'll get 2 shrines then. And that is the only reason why I haven't played Dark Souls anymore past that one part. Now, what I should do is I should record the game, because that way I'll stick to it. And in fact, my dying over and over again, I can make a nice fail montage of it. It's the only way in which I'd probably get through the game. It might be entertaining, but I have a hunch the only thing that will happen is that everyone will say, Tim, you're doing this wrong. And I'll be like, yeah, I know. And I'm just going to die even more. And you know what's actually interesting? A game like Darkest Dungeon is supposed to be tough, or something like that. In fact, I'll address this a little bit later. For Darkest Dungeon, whenever I begin getting crit multiple times, I get angry. I get furious at the game. I begin cursing and swearing so much. It's like Armageddon Empires, where if once the die rolls hate me, and to be fair, they hate me with every single time I roll those dice. I get so mad after a few times of it happening. I begin to lose my patience with it. However, in Dark Souls, I never felt that way. I never got angry. Instead, I would just go at it again and try something a little different. The first boss... Oh, not the first boss. Second? Third? There's one boss where he's a giant minotaur on a bridge. I think it's the second boss. To be fair, I know there are optional bosses you can go and fight. Like, there's a guy at the bottom of this one tower who just slaughtered me, and I wasn't doing any damage to him. So I take it I needed a friend to help me out, or I needed some better gear, something I was supposed to come back to later. Oh, hold on. We need a searing ember and a scavenged plating. Alright, let's go back and get them. And so I died to him on the bridge because I told
see
you
what's left
first time was
of your
awesome.
wares.
Oh man, I wish I recorded what happened to me. Oh, hold on, one second. This is
Put it
no,
to good
I like mine
use.
better. When he dropped down, I was like, holy crap, that's a giant Minotaur demon creature.
Save storage.
And I turned around and started to run, but he caught up with me and he just basically killed me in a single hit because I was already weak. Oh, that was incredible. I was laughing at how great that was. So I died to him 3 times before I figured out that I can run up this one tower that's behind me and try to drop down on top of him and hit him with my weapon. Oh, hold on. Whoa, Tim. You're here for the things. But I kept messing it up, or I wouldn't do too much damage. And then when I tried to run back up the ladder again, the demon leaped up the tower and killed me with a single hit. It was awesome. But what I ended up doing, because I couldn't figure out a decent way to beat him, was that I, by accident, threw up one of my bombs at him that I got from a different creature. You can kill creatures and they drop random stuff. Some of them are consumable. You can also buy these consumables in-game by spending souls, which is the currency and your experience points. In any case, I bought quite a few of these bombs, and I used them to destroy the demon. And I would do my dodge back whenever he would use his giant axe, and then move forward so that I would be within threat range and hit him with like another bomb or two. And I won, and it was a lot of fun, and I was very proud of myself for coming up with the solution. There will be a time in Hyperlight when I finally upload this, and this won't ruin too much of the game. There was a cave, and this cave is filled with spikes. At the end of the spikes, there was a very large group of enemies that you're forced to fight if you want to get access to this one secret. Well, the spikes do a crazy amount of damage to you in Hyperlight Drifter, and, well, by the time you reach this fight, there's so many things in this one room, you're gonna die. I can't imagine it's very easy at all to do that fight, and I failed that fight 5 times. When I got back to that spot, I stopped, I examined the situation, and then I recognized what I needed to do. What I needed to do was not fight these creatures, but I needed to go back over the spikes again. This way, when those creatures chased me, they would all die from the spikes.
Keep an eye out.
And that is exactly what I did, and I won. It was a great idea that I recognized, like, holy crap, the game actually wants me to do this. And that feeling of accomplishment is just, oh, it's so great. And for that reason, I don't think, for example, that difficult games should be weakened, because some people can't do them. If the developers make different difficulty levels, okay, that's cool. I fully support that. But it shouldn't be... But complaining to the developers that a game has to be made easier, or using a term like exclusionary, that's kind of... I don't know. That's... Dumb is not the appropriate word. I don't feel that's very fair. And I feel that it would also cheapen the experience, and nor do I feel it is the developer's Wait. Oh, holy crap! Oh, they must have changed that. Okay, I did not realize that. This apparently uses stuff in your shared stash now, so I no longer need to go back and grab these components when I see a shrine. I can simply recognize that they're there and just use the shrine. Okay, cool. Let's begin working on... Do I really want this? Now, of course, hold on, everyone. Now I stop to look at other things. What would I take? So this is all fire damage, I think. Fire resistance. Yeah, it's fire damage. Doesn't help me. The Berserker doesn't help. Okay, we're gonna take points in this, and if I need to undo it, I will go back to the respec person and do that. So I think I have to put a point, my first point here. So we're not going to do... It does retaliation damage. I don't really do retaliation damage on this character. I'm really just interested in the movement speed. Though I will finish this entirely as well, I think. Yeah, I want that pierce speed. So I'm going to go straight up this right away to Messenger of War. Oh, it's not... This is something like I don't activate. It's just a chance when I'm struck by a melee attack. Okay, that's still good. I'm going to go straight up here for this first, And then take this and this, which I don't need as badly. Okay, so anyway, what makes a difficult game interesting to me? Like, what makes a difficult game something that I'm willing to put time into to beat? In fact, now that I'm thinking about it, I'm really in the mood to play Dark Souls, so I think I will put that game back on my computer. I'm done with this. I heard Dark Souls 3 is even out, so holy crap, that's awesome. Yeah, you know what? Forget it. I'm gonna put the game back on my computer. I just talked myself into playing a game that killed me over and over again. Oh, hello. You're a special guy. And you're dead. Holy crap! I haven't seen this. What is that? Oh, so hold on. Wait 1 second. What is this? This is Storm Tome Chaos Damage. That's just vendor stuff. It's a nice wand. What is this? This is new. Cold Snap. 82% cold damage, Frostburn, Absolute Zero. Oh, wow! Good on anyone else but this character. Gee, aren't I using Cold Snap? Isn't that what this is? No, this is Cold Snap. No, that's Absolute Zero. Oh, Absolute Zero is what it does. Does Absolute Zero? It does Absolute Zero. This would be good for Tira. Yeah, that'd be excellent for Tira, so I think we will give that to her. What is this? Poison damage is over here to my ever-increasing supply of things I need to actually put in the stash. All right, let's destroy this. This is just junk. So, I think what it is how much I enjoy certain aspects of the game, and if these parts need to excel beyond the frustration of failing the game due to its difficulty. So, you know, yeah, Dark Souls was fantastic. Now that I think about it, I don't know why I actually stopped playing it. Well, no, I do. It was freaking tough. It was very, very freaking tough. I just picked up something I want to look at. Chaos damage? No, it's just junk. So, in that game, I wasn't willing to... Oh, sure, you know what? I can give you an example. So, in Hyperlight, we'll go back to Hyperlight Drifter, there is a section of the game in which you can purchase this one upgrade for one of your skills, which allows you to dash an endless amount of time if you time the ability correctly. And there's a room you can do this in. In fact, the room's designed so that you can basically just use this endlessly. If you do your multi-dash 100 times in a row, and that is not an easy feat to do, you gain an upgrade token. If you do it 600 times, there is a... Well, I don't know what you get, because I haven't done it 600... Actually, no, I think it's 800 times. If you do it 800 times in a row, then you get something else. What this thing is, I don't know, because the maximum amount of times in a row I've been able to dash successfully has been 135 at the time of this recording. And that took me, I'd say, about an hour. Now, don't worry, I did that off screen. Holy crap, that was really tough, because if your timing is wrong at all, your character stops dashing. So, 800 times? That is beyond my capabilities, and I recognize that it is beyond my capabilities. Furthermore, I also recognize that should I attempt to do that, to gain whatever it is that I would gain, it's either a new outfit or a gun or something special like that, if it would drive me nuts, and I would stop playing the game if I thought it was a requirement. So, the best thing I can do, because I don't feel I need whatever it is I would gain in order to actually beat the game. And indeed, I think this is also plays into the other thing I was talking about with how I can tell myself that I've won even if I haven't. I view that part as being successfully completed, because there is no way I'm going to do that. There's no way I'm going to do this dash for 600 times or 800 times in a row and spend what must be hours and hours doing it, knowing that if I make a mistake at 750 times in a row, I will just go ballistic and murder everyone in my town. That's not true, I won't actually do that. But I will be very, very mad. Now, this plays into something else, which is nothing that they talked about in the podcast. But when I looked online, I'm like, wow, do they really expect people to do this? It's the most complained about thing in Hyperlight Drifter. Is that, hey, this is really freaking tough to do. And on one hand, I don't want it changed because it cheapens the achievement for those who actually manage to do it. That said, however, I don't actually have to be good enough at the game to do it. So I have a gaming mouse, and I can program my mouse to do this for me. I can tell the mouse when to activate certain events. And as long as I'm able to capture the game's screen, its resolution, then I'll be able to program my mouse in such a way that it will do the dashes for me at an infinite amount of time. And so when I began looking at a way to do this, I decided that I would look it up online, and other people have done the same thing. So I could just download a small script, install it, and then be done with it. That said, I recognize that that feels like cheating, because it is, and so it's not something I'm going to do. I would just recognize that, hey, this part is beyond me, and that is all there is to it. Later on, I'll actually look up, once I've beaten the game, what it was that I did not get. Assuming that I don't need that thing to beat the game. I can't believe that they would do that to the poor player. And then I'll do it when it's all done, just to see what it was I would have gotten. So, a game like, let's say, the Spirit Engine 2 is very difficult. I really like it. And I'm willing to suffer's the wrong word because it's actually really enjoyable. I'm willing to do the difficult parts of that game because of how much I enjoy every aspect of it. The combat doesn't feel cheap. It rewards you for understanding the game mechanics and getting better and better at utilizing your abilities and understanding how the game works, like between all your characters that you take along. The same thing actually with Dark Souls. The better you are, as you begin to learn the timings and whatnot of your weapon, you're able to, and dodging, you begin to recognize, let's say, creatures' attack patterns. Then you can successfully parry and block and counterattack the enemy. You're able to begin speccing your character correctly as well. And in Dark Souls, there's a penalty for dying in that you lose your experience, if you can't get it back, which is why it's very important that you always try to get your experience back.
Can't do that yet.
Wow, that's a lot of you. That's a lot less of you. There's no real permanent penalty to the game. Fire damage, lightning damage, thermite. Some of these Grobble idols are really fantastic today. Fire damage, lightning damage, physique, spirit, region, nah, it's just gonna better that one too. Right, what was I talking about? Oh, and it's the same thing for Hyperlight. As you gain new abilities, or even your old ones, if you're able to remember you have them and use them successfully, oh, it feels fantastic. When you go into a room or an arena and you just destroy everyone in there without taking any damage, and your character whirls around and slams his sword into the ground because you did this fight without taking any damage, or you did the fight really well without dying even once, oh, it feels fantastic. And Dark Souls has the same thing with you fist pump the air because you do it. Oh, Darkest Dungeon. When I had done the very final dungeon, the actual Darkest Dungeon itself, when I was fighting off the giant cysts, when I finally had a group together that was actually doing it, I was so pumped that I found a good strategy that worked, and my characters were successful at it. I put together a plan. The plan was enacted. Success. What really helps as well is games that are difficult just for the sake of being difficult, though, are not something I will play. It has to have some charm to it, or I won't even consider playing through it. So What's a game that doesn't have enough charm to support its difficulty? See, I'm a little... I don't like being negative on games. Generally, I won't talk too much about games I didn't enjoy, but I can think of one. Alright, fine. I do like the game, and I will play it again. I'm just not in the mood to play it at the moment. I guess it's another one of those games that's really, really difficult. So, there's a Kickstarter game I have called Convoy, and I actually have a few videos of it uploaded. It's fun. I do like the game. But the difficulty of it is, well, no, this is not fair, because the game is also a random number generation game, in that it's a roguelike, and the things you get are random. So I've just had a series of bad luck, which is why I probably put the game down. But, you know, it gives me a good... Okay, it does illustrate the game. Sorry, I had a whole conversation with myself to figure out if I wanted to talk about a game or not. So... I've lost a game a few times now, in a row. In fact, I tried recording it, but I get too salty because of just the bad luck I'm having in not getting things I need or not finding any... It'd be like Darkest Dungeon, where I just don't get any treasure, and I get a bunch of negative quirks, and I end up having to keep firing people over and over and over again. And I can see... While that hasn't happened too often to me in Darkest Dungeon, I can see how... If that does happen, and I'm positive it has happened to other people who play the game, I can see why that would be just so punishing that it would turn people off to the game. So in that case, like, I'm not willing to put in the time anymore to finish the game, because I've had enough. I need a break. And the same thing happens, oh yeah, sure, with Armageddon Empires. Fantastic game. I have hundreds of hours of that game, I think, uploaded to YouTube. And if I don't have it uploaded, then know that I have played the game for hundreds of hours. But I will need to take a break because of how frustrated I become at that game on occasion. And yes, we're doubling back and doubling back and doubling back. I think this is the first dead-end area. Oh, hello. These guys. So, something I know it is as well. What makes a difficult game fun for me is when it rewards you for making the right choices and for getting better at the game and understanding how it works. Ordered. Wow, that's actually really good. I have a poison character who could use that. Right. Oh, and I leveled, so we should go back to town and vendor some stuff, and then we'll come back here. So, Our Darker Purpose. When I first started that game, I died over and over again to Woundwort's Fortress. It was sad. I think I died 6 times. But I recognized that I was slowly making progress. And eventually, during the battle there, I eventually got the boss to spawn. And I died because, holy crap, the boss, plus Woundwort Fortress itself, is really tough. Alright, so... if you don't know what Our Darker Purpose is, it's a twin-stick shooter. And this one fight was amazing. I thought it was one of the most unique fights I've ever done. Your boss is basically a city. You're fighting a city, is the best way to describe it. Like the buildings. People are shooting stuff out at you. You have to destroy all the structures. At a certain point, when the actual superstructure, the actual fort, loses about, I think it's 60% of its maximum life, the actual boss, the leader in charge of the Woundwort Fortress, shows up. This girl named Goneril. And she's tough, she does a lot of damage, and she'll kill you if she hits you too often. And your choice there is you can either keep focusing on the fortress to destroy it, or go after her. If you destroy her, then you've beaten the fortress. Like, the whole fortress is destroyed the moment she is destroyed.
See you around.
1 second, I need to check my stash, see if I have anything I can equip at this level. I don't think I do.
Got something you need stashed?
In here. Level 40, that's level 39. I have enough spirit for that.
I'll hold on to that for you.
Let's put another point into physique, just to be safe. And over here, another point in shaman. I've unlocked a bunch of skills I don't need. Then it's 7 more points to take Storm Totem. Alright, so I want 1 point over here. 1 point here as well. that looks good. Let's get back out there. I like the idea of the fight so much that I was like, this is awesome. I'm dying over and over and over again, but I want to beat this. In addition, something else I find will allow me to continue at a mission, at an objective, at a difficult game, even if it is, well, difficult, is if I feel like I'm making progress at it. It's one of the reasons why, if something's too tough for me, I'll stop and examine what's happening to make sure I'm just not messing something up. In the case of Our Darker Purpose, I could tell that I was making progress. I was getting a little better at dodging the enemies. I was getting further in the amount of life that was lost on the enemy fortress, and so on and so on. If I ever did the fight and I didn't get as far as I did before, I was able to recognize mistakes that I made. I'm like, oh darn it, I'm getting the dodge wrong, or I'm not in the zone, so I keep taking unnecessary damage. Wow, wait, what am I doing? I'm a spellcaster. I should be running and casting spells. Wind level up. That will kill it off screen for me. Sorry, little grumble. Nightblades, ether, elemental, poison. Wow, that's a bunch of random stuff. Lots of random stuff today. All right. Anyway, right. So, you know what? And this is probably one of the reasons why I like games, with very few exceptions, that reward your skill more than randomness, I would say. But I think I'm not in the minority for that, right? Most people, I would imagine, prefer that sort of thing. So, a game like Our Darker Purpose has RNG features within it, in addition to being agility-based. So, that means that it's a twin-stick shooter, so you got to pay attention to what's going on. You have to know what to do, when to dodge, and stuff like that. There's things for you to do on-screen besides just pick up loot. This game, for example, requires some amount of... It has random aspects to it, and the treasure you get, the numbers of damage that you do, but you still need to move around. Like, you need to pay attention to what's going on, and properly know when to use abilities, and so on. A game like Dark Souls is... Even though I did stop playing it, it still feels... probably not a fair comparison given how difficult the games are, but the sense of accomplishment in Dark Souls feels different to me than the sense of accomplishment does in Darkest Dungeon. Alright, we're gonna keep talking. I have to read books. I know I'm supposed to read all the books, but I'll read that book later. I promise. If I remember. I'm supposed to read the books. So, in Darkest Dungeon, you're rewarded for proper use of skills, but it's also quite a bit random. In that, hey, the game's random. The game has random aspects to it. A lot of random aspects to it. From the amount of damage you do, to even if you manage to hit the creatures, to if the creatures manage to even threaten you in the mission. As opposed to a game like The Spirit Engine 2, where, while there is random, holy crap, it's not as random. And you better damn well make sure that you know which abilities to use and when. You better approach each fight knowing how to use your party, or you're losing that fight, even the basic ones. The same thing with Dark Souls or with Hyperlink Drifter. But Hyperlink Drifter, there's no randomness to it. You have to know when to use all your abilities, or that's it for you. You're dead. If you run into all the fights, just run up to the creature and spamming your attack button, you're dead. That's it. Like, you won't get past, like, the third arena. It simply won't happen. You probably won't even get past the first one, because it's tough right from the very beginning. And that's awesome. So, games which reward your understanding and utilization of their mechanics are my preferred games. And not only that, but I really, really enjoy them. And I'm willing to stick out in the game longer because of it. The exception being if I can't figure out what I'm doing wrong, in which case I'll probably take a break. And I guess that's what I've done for Dark Souls, because I've talked myself into playing the game. So I think I'll go ahead and install it, get that patch installed, and do it again. Oh, another difficult game was Grimrock. The puzzles were tricky, some of the battles were difficult, but it never felt cheap. Even when I lost 1 or 2 times, the desert was particularly awesome. Like, I think I lost my party, what, 3 times there, trying to figure out how to do it, but I did it in the end, and it never felt cheesy. Also, I need to apologize. If ever I say something is, like, dumb or stupid, because I'm worried I might say that on occasion, I don't actually mean that. What I mean is that it was frustrating for me to do a certain thing, and I probably would have preferred if it wasn't so frustrating. And holy crap, we're here. We're at the boss. The very final thing I wanted to kill out here. I'm not even halfway through my talk about all the stuff I wanted to talk about. But let's drop our portal, just in case we die. Let's do it. So our first objective is to get in here before we're slaughtered outright. Keep a bunch of those going. I need to kill all the shamans because they will heal the boss. Oh, hello. Oh, the boss isn't even around. Oh, I thought he spawned out here. I guess he's not today. There he is. Keep running. Another one of these. Sorry, everyone. This is like the final boss of this area. No, not gonna hit me. Not today. Wow. That was disgustingly easy. What did we gain? Just junk today. Alright, everyone. I'm gonna stop here. When we come back, I'll talk about difficulty like a lot more, I think. Yep, I have a whole huge page, 2 pages of it to talk about. Man, it would help if I don't get so freaking distracted about everything. It also means that now I'm going to go and install Dark Souls, and maybe that will be the game I play while I'm compressing things.
I'll give you a good price on what I've got left.
I need a game to play that I like playing, that I also don't want to record while I'm compressing, where I just sit here watching random YouTube videos. I want to actually make progress at some of the games I own, or I'll never ever beat any of these things. Alright, everyone, so I'm going to do a bunch of this stuff off screen because there's no reason to make you watch them. So thank you guys for watching this. This has been more Grim Dawn. We gained 2 levels. We've cleared out a bunch of side quests. In fact, I need to return. Let's do that right now. Let's go back to Deathmark Valor and turn this in, and then we will call this a session. So where are you? You are in the Pine Barrens. I probably should check to make sure there was no gold chest in there as well. How goes the battle against Bloodfeast? It wasn't easy. That's a lie. But Bloodfeast is dead. You are a brutal and effective fighter. No, I'm not. I'm a smart and cowardly runner. I hate to run into you in a battlefield. So would I. Glad to have you on our side. I'm really just running away. I'll be sure to include you in my report back to Captain Summer and Homestead. Thank you. We earned an Ancient Heart, and some rep, and a lot of experience points. Let's go back and make sure that there was no gold chest there. I don't think there was a gold chest in this area, but I should make sure. I hate to leave behind free treasure. Oh, there was. Holy crap. Would have left that behind. What we get today? We got Tempest Field Shoulders. No, I like mine better. I like the resistances, especially Pierce Resistance. What do we get today? Oh, I already have like 5 of these, so we don't need that. Here, shield, junk. Well, we could use the treasure. All right, everyone. So that will do it for us. Thank you guys for watching. When we come back, we will go and destroy the ethereal we'll destroy the giant demon, and I'll see you guys then. Take care, and thanks for watching.